Since I own this boat, I've always hated my kitchen counter. Look at it. It's like my grandfather's bathroom's tiles. It's horrible. And you might wonder, why have I never changed it? Well, when you buy a boat, you think, oh, I'm going to do this on the interior, I'm going to do that on the interior. And then the reality is, you spend so much time working on actual essential things on the boat that once that is done, or once that was done, I was like, ugh, I just want to have fun and go cruising. I can't be bothered to change the interior. Well, today is the day. It's been piled up for so long, I'm gonna put different tiles on. This is the tile I'm going to use. I think it's going to look really pretty. A lot more pretty than that. When I was walking in the construction market, I wasn't thinking, because I've done some construction projects before and you use this normally, but the difference between a house and a boat is that a boat flexes, you know, when you sail it all flexes a little bit, and a house doesn't unless you have an earthquake. So when this gets really hard and the boat flexes, the tile might break. So I want to avoid that. So it seems a lot wiser to do it with sealant. I have marine sealant, but definitely not the hard sealant. Not like a 5200, because that will still get really hard. I'm using a sealant that stays soft so that the tile can flex a little. Let's begin. I've been puzzling a bit with what would look nicest, which setup of the tiles. And because with the boat the long lines seem to be in that direction and the shorter lines in that direction, I want to do the same with the tiles. Keep the long lines in that direction. Let's mark the first one and cut it. First thing I'm doing is I'm going to cut this little corner out here. So that's 3 inch. It's gonna be till here. I'm doing my grinding in the workshop, not in the boat, because otherwise it would get really dusty. It's quite nice that they have 110 and 230 volts here. I'm just using a really cheap standard diamond disc. I'm sure there are better discs to use for this, but this is just what I have. Alright, let's try this out. I think that's a pretty good first one. Alright, let's go back, see if I did it correct, and then measure off the rest of the tile. Oh, that's pretty good. So it needs a little edge off here now. this corner I cut from the top, which turned out really nice. This one I cut from the bottom, which did not turn out so nice. It doesn't really matter because you won't see it because the stove is lying on top of it. But I'm gonna try to cut most of them from the top. Just checking it to be sure. Nah, this is gonna be fully covered by the stove. Okay, great, let's continue. Starting to look pretty good. One thing that I know is going to bother me in the future is when this is in, there's a tiny corner exposed there, which I could seal, but I can also just take a new towel and just redo it. So that's what I'm going to do. Since I'm redoing a few things anyway, and I have enough tiles, I'm also going to redo this. Even though you don't see it, I'm going to make it a little nicer anyway. Alright, let's put the last tiles in. I'm actually getting a neighbor who I know from last year. That's looking pretty neat, I would say. I'm going to use white sealant, Sikaflex 29i under the tiles. This is white sealant. I don't think it really matters what color you use, because you don't see it anyway. But to fill the gaps, I'm going to use this one, black sealant. When you use white or clear sealant to fill gaps in the kitchen, it turns out, for whatever reason, yellow after a certain amount of time. So gray or black seems like the wiser choice. I'm going for black. I'm using 29i from Sikaflex. It's probably overkill, but I just like to use either 3M or Sikaflex on a boat, just because other brands have given me too many issues in the past. Let's do it. I'm going to do them one by one. Take one out, clean it, put it back in, do the next one, on and on. Just want to make sure this fits. I didn't do anything wrong before it dries out. Okay. Alright, that turned out pretty well, I'd say. Next step is going to be I'm going to seal the gaps with black sealant. It's a little hot here, that's why I'm a little sweaty today. I think I did a pretty decent job. I just put on the first layer of linseed oil. I'm gonna put a couple more layers on. I've been using linseed oil for a while now. The advantage compared to varnish is varnish in the Caribbean, because of the heat, it just wears off really fast, and then when it's worn off you have to actually sand it down or scrape it off before putting on new varnish. And linseed oil just goes into the wood and you just have to put a new layer on. After 30 minutes, every time you do have to take the residue off after a layer, because if you don't do that, I forgot that the first time, everything just sticks to it. It's terrible. But yeah, the disadvantage of linseed oil is it wears off a lot faster, so you do have to do it a lot more often. Whether I will keep using linseed oil in the future, I don't know. I'll probably also try out some different options. All right, I'll see you next time.